Hello everybody, and welcome back to the range. Tom here, and today we're doing a 1989 Chevy S10. Now, one of my favorite castings, not really big on the 4x4 wheels, so why don't we head on down to the range and let's get started, see what we come up with. The one things I always look for is, trying to find how many posts there are. And I like this casting. I think it's time we field strip and see what all we have to work with. There was 3 posts that I had to drill out. One I kind of had to pry off the chassis just to even get to the base of it. And honestly, it was kind of neat that it came off in one piece, sort of. A couple of smaller pieces broke off of it. And, I could use it for later on builds for something. I can modify it and see what we got. I got a couple things in the mail coming. I got some 55 gassers coming from Paul at the Diecast Graveyard. I have, a couple of online parts from Benchwork Toys. Yeah, I kind of went a little spend happy with those. This S10 was already kind of set up with what I was going to go with. But I wanted to take away that 4-wheel drive look and drop it down. And, I had to re-drill some holes in the base because there was none. And, the grill, it came out. I had, 3 pieces of the windshield. It had 2 side mirror windows and 1 windshield portion of it. And I try to keep everything organized and put to the sides until I need it, so I know where everything's at. Here it is out of the gun oil. I'm already stripping her down, kind of smoothing her out with the steel wool that I have. And honestly, I love using steel wool. I think it's a little bit better than the wire brush, and it's a little bit messier, but I don't have stuff flying at me. And this casting was fun. I did a little bit of modifications to it, put a new style engine in it, and did some interior color to it. And the hardest part on this vehicle was getting the paint just right. And I had a good little paint scheme set up and everything. It's just, I don't know what went wrong, but the paint was not settling the way I went, so I had to go a different way. I'm trying to do off-road wheels just to see what it would look like. I ended up not going with them. And I had these drag pieces come off of a gasser car of mine. And so I decided to put them on there just to give it that look. And, I've already picked out the wheels by now. And, I ended up going through all my wheels and organizing them. So I put them all in like sets. So I got like over 70 sets of wheels that I can use. And I wanted to put a dragster look on this truck. It's not technically a dragster because it doesn't have the wheelie bars, or anything like that. I didn't make it that way. And I kind of had to cut off part of the wheel wells on the base to get the tires I wanted to fit on it. Not just that, I had to modify this portion of the base just to even get the engine with the exhaust that I have to fit. And this was like literally the longest part of the video other than waiting on paint. And I love S10s. Those are like, honestly, if I could get me another truck and it was the only one available, I'd get me an S10 in a heartbeat. My dad has I can't remember what year his is, but he's got an S10 and he's always had good luck with S10s. And I'm trying to make this to where I kind of shaved down the side fenders and I kind of made the wheel wells a little bit wider and deeper to fit the wheels that I was going to be putting on it. And of course, you can see I'm using my Dremel tool, trying to smooth it out. And, I was going with the file at first, but it was just taking too long. So I put on my sanding wheel on my Dremel, and I just started going to town. And You know, at first it wasn't looking like it and looking the way I was wanting to, and then I had to file some more down, and kind of rinse, lather, repeat kind of steps. But eventually I got it the way I wanted. I had to make sure everything was gonna fit, and you see the big old slick wheels I'm putting on the back of it, and the front wheels I picked for it don't match like the style. Well, it matches the style, but not the rim look. And I still had to do some filing just to make sure the wheels would fit inside the base. And this isn't like what it totally looked like when it was done, but it was kind of where I was going with. I shortened up the axles, kind of made it to where they fit a little bit better, and there was a little bit of a modifications I had to do other than wallow out the base of it. And I had to redo the light rack because it I don't know what it was. I just could not get it right. I tried using brass tubing to make it, and then I ended up just using small round tubing with styrene to make it, and I had to kind of do it pieces at a time. And I ended up, the holes that were already in it for the exhaust for the engines, I ended up making them bigger because I ended up making 4 exhaust steps coming out of the side, out of the engine attached to it, and I wanted to make sure that they fit. So I would cut and file down, and I did more filing on this just to get it just right. And it finally, after a few minutes, quite a few minutes, I ended up being able to get them both to fit, and it looked like it was supposed to, like I was hoping it would. And you see me here mocking it up, and it's nothing wrong with mocking up so many times. Keith from Outlaw Speed Shop, he does a lot of mock-up before he does the final product, and I'm the same way. I like to make sure everything fits. I'll test fit everything, all the windows and interior, and just ensure that everything will fit together before I start painting. And I've already modified the base of it, so when I put the engine in, it would fit just fine. And it took me a few tries, but I eventually got it. And it just honestly, I was really happy with the way it all turned out. Including the problem I had was paint the entire time. Like, it took me forever to do the paint because I came up with a pattern, started doing it, and the paint would come off, or the paint wasn't dry enough. And I'm using airbrushing now, and I've noticed though it doesn't take long for airbrush paint to dry, but you got to make sure it dries enough. And once it's like fully cured, honestly, like, you leave it overnight and it'll be fine the next day, and you'll be able to do all kinds of stuff with it. But there are so many more advantages to airbrushing than there is to using a rattle can, and I cannot complain about airbrush. I really had fun doing this.
If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell for further notifications.
And I really just wanted to try to different styles nowadays, and I'm going over with a gray color for the base paint, for the interior portion, the grill, the bumpers, just to get an idea. I ended up painting them black, and after I did a black sealer, I went over it with a candy green, and it came out this really cool looking, like, dark green. And I'm doing a camouflage pattern, so I'm tearing up some tape, and I'm only putting it in spots that I'm going to camouflage. And I ended up doing this with a darker brown, which I'm getting ready to do here in a little bit, but this is the bed of it. I did it with a darker brown, taped it again, did it with a oblique black, and then I taped off a little portion of it just to mark off where I wanted the custom was. And you know, here I am peeling the tape off before I taped it off again for a burnt copper look that I kind of mixed up. And it ended up going together a lot better than I was expecting. It matched up, it looked perfect, and you know. And the thing is, there's not, like, when you clear coat it on airbrushing, that I've noticed, it don't take long for the clear coat, whether you're using rattle can clear coat or whatever, it does not take long to dry. And I'm really happy with that, because you know, it took me over a week just to even get this thing finished, because it just got to the point where I kind of, my old airbrush just literally just went kaput. It stopped working, and I couldn't figure out why, and it just hasn't worked since then, so I had to go get a new airbrush. But the thing is, y'all remember what we started off with. Very nice casting, very mean looking truck. I was happy with it. Hope y'all are happy with it. And stay tuned for the next video, because without further ado, I give you the new and improved 89 Chevy S10.
Check it out.
And I'll see you next time at the range.